Okay, here we go. I'm Mike. Welcome to the Wandering Minds podcast.
I'm Mickey.
Mickey, it's your show today. What's going on?
So you always interview other people.
Oh, God.
So I thought it'd be great to ask you questions.
Okay. Shoot, Ryan has been wanting to do that too. So
Too bad.
Okay. Well, you made it first.
He can ask you other questions.
Yeah.
So you always ask about people's lifting careers, and we don't actually know much about yours. So I remember you saying at one point your brother was inspiring you because he worked out a lot.
Yeah.
When was that?
So my brother is 5 years older than me, almost exactly. His birthday is the 25th, and mine's the 29th. March, yes. So we're both Aries. Not that matters, but it does. So he wasn't really into sports as a kid, but I know that when he was a teenager, he lifted. And back in our day, the weights were
The 1950s?
Oh, fuck you. Kind of ish. But the weights were plastic on the outside, like a plastic container, whatever, plastic, concrete in the middle, and like plastic on the inside. Okay. You know those old school.
Plastic on the inside or outside?
Oh, plastic on the outside.
So like plastic coated
plastic.
Concrete?
Yeah, essentially. So he had weights, and we just used to lift with that. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing, but we did lift. So I've kind of lifted my entire life. I've never actually focused on bodybuilding, or obviously I didn't even know about powerlifting back then. But we just lifted to get strong. Yeah. I mean, it was basically the curls, bench press.
Curls for the girls.
Curls for the girls. You know it. And it worked. But I remember one time we lifted together, and I'm trying to think of how old I was. I was probably about 14 or 15. And we lifted really, really fucking hard one day. Full body stuff, everything. But when I say full body, I mean bench press, whatever you would call squats. They weren't like squats that I focus on now. Curls and some tricep stuff. And we had this little spring thing. I don't know if you remember it, but it was like you pull it apart and it was like springs.
Yeah, like an accordion,
if you let it,
but it was,
if you let it go, it fucking
yeah.
If you had hair, that shit was gone.
I didn't.
So that was what we had. Instead of bands, we had that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, we lifted so hard one day, and it felt great. The next day, I couldn't fucking move. I couldn't fucking move at all.
How old do you think you were?
Around 14.
Okay.
Probably about 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
And we went, I think there was a family reunion or something, and we were in the back of a truck, because back then it was like back of the truck. Who cares? No seatbelts. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Oh, my God. I can still think of that much pain to this day. How much, like I couldn't move. You know how when you get locked up, when you lift so hard and you like get out of bed and you're like that. Yeah. My whole body was like that. My entire body. That being said, I've always had a passion for lifting. I used to look at the Mr. Olympia magazines and the bodybuilding shows, and I watched strongman, but I never got into it like I am now. Yeah.
So, but when you had this experience where you were in so much pain, was that motivating or?
No, fuck no. It was, let's just say I was a part-time lifter after that for a while. But I learned early on, you don't have to go 100% when you're getting back into it.
Right.
So like when I see these trainers that make these fucking people go balls fucking out the first day, all you're doing is turning them off.
Yeah,
absolutely. I guarantee it. They're not going to want to fucking come back.
Nobody likes that.
Nobody likes that.
Yeah.
And I kind of get the mentality behind it, but it's stupid mentality, because what you're doing is you're doing the reverse of what you want to do. You want to instill like this passion and this like, I feel the pump, I feel my body working. But if they can't fucking move for a week, you just fucked up.
It makes me mad, and I've been but like I've been lifting a while, and it makes me mad when I'm that sore.
Seriously, nobody likes it.
No.
And it's not really good for the psyche.
No, I agree.
Because people get turned off real quick when it comes to that type of thing, because they're like, I could do without this shit. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's so hard to like start that habit anyway.
Yeah.
And so you'd have to have the mentality of like, oh, I can push through this pain.
Yep.
But there's not a lot of people that are.
No. Well, and for me, I learned pretty early on to ease into it. Like if I take any time off, ease back into it.
Yeah.
Because my body's going to catch up.
Oh yeah.
As long as I ease into it, I'm going to keep that like, okay, I can do this rather than I don't want to fucking do this again.
Yeah.
Type of thing. That being said, now I love, I wouldn't say I love it in a weird way, but I love to feel the pain of my muscles growing, my muscles working.
Afterwards or during?
During and after.
Yeah. Like I'm a little bit sore today, but it's like a good sore. Like,
well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Some people don't want to feel that.
Yeah.
I strive for that.
Yeah. I like it in that it helps me to know that like I was productive.
Yep.
But I want to be able to sit on my toilet.
Yeah.
Get off the toilet.
Yeah. Well, that's that getting on properly, aligning, and then
not
getting
just
back up.
Falling down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear this in the back? Do you think?
I can hear it. Yeah.
Should I turn it off?
Yeah. It just sounds like a machine.
We'll see how long we last.
So
that was my introduction to lifting. I know in high school there was we had, back when I was in high school, we had gym class, or back when I was in grade school, we had challenges for like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, the rope, climbing the rope. There was a peg board, jump ropes. We had all that type of stuff. I don't even think they have that shit anymore.
in elementary school?
Yeah. In elementary school, throughout the grades.
Yeah.
So there was like we would train for it, we would practice for it, and then there was like a challenge to see who would get the most push-ups, who would get the most sit-ups, who would get the most.
Yeah.
But it was a healthy thing. It was a really good thing because it kept us in gym class. There was dodgeball. I don't know if they play that shit anymore, but we really focused on health and fitness back in my generation. So I was continued with that type of thing. I played a lot of sports. Early on, I started soccer, baseball, football, wrestling. Played basketball for a little while. Didn't like it. Had nothing to do with my height because we were all the same fucking height back then. But I didn't like basketball. I wasn't into basketball. I liked football because it was brutal. I liked wrestling because it was brutal. Baseball got boring as fuck, even though I was all-star player.
Because it's not brutal.
Because it just wasn't. I don't want to make myself sound like that. It just wasn't. I stopped enjoying it.
Yeah.
I was in so many sports that it just turned me off from sports. Like soccer, I loved soccer until I was done with soccer, and then I was done. But the problem with that was I got into drinking at a very early age. Oh, okay. So it went from athlete to partying, drinking, stuff like that. But I've always liked to lift weights. That was always my thing.
So after, because you said you were about 14, and then you continued to lift, you were into sports, and then what? And then you started drinking and whatnot. At what point, I would say like in your 20s, early 20s, you started working out again?
Probably because I went through a long phase of getting in trouble. And I'd say this is going to sound bad, but I started lifting weights in prison.
Well, you'd have got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I remember that's what my brother did.
Yeah. And prison yard is, and I'm not trying to compare it to FS and make FS look like a certain way, but was like FS because it was free weights. It was all free weights. There was no fucking machines and none of that bullshit. It was free weights and you're lifting on the yard. And that was the thing to do. So I got into lifting pretty good in there. It wasn't for anything. It wasn't like, okay, I'm trying to get this. I did bulk up pretty good at that age. I don't even know how strong I was at that age because it wasn't really like that. I didn't have that in my mind.
Was it more just like to kill time? It
was to kill time, and it was to be kill aggression in prison. Yeah. You have to have that. I think actually I've heard that they've gotten rid of a lot of the free weights in some of the prisons in Oregon, but I don't know. I don't know that to be true or not.
I don't know. I don't have anyone in the prison currently in Oregon.
Yeah. So anyways, that in my 20s, yes, I lifted. I got out of it for a long time because I just worked. Well,
and you had a young family.
Yeah.
So that took up time too, I'm sure.
It did, but that's just a fucking bullshit excuse, as you and I know.
Yeah, but I mean, different priorities.
Yeah, different priorities. So it wasn't like one of those things that I even really thought about. I didn't even realize how out of shape I was until I realized how out of shape I was.
Yeah.
Because I was a drinker. I was an alcoholic. So I started drinking very early on in my early teens. So I trained myself to be an alcoholic. Let's put it that way. And what I mean by that was because when I started drinking, I drank to get drunk.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was my focus, was we're drinking, we're getting fucked up. It wasn't like I'm going to have a beer. It was to get fucked up. So that's how you train yourself to become an alcoholic. And it just progressed over the years. I got in a ton of trouble, but, I think there was a while, I don't even know what age I was. It was before the girls. No, it was right after Aaliyah or actually probably right after Izzy was born that I realized, and Rosh put her foot down. You know, there was a time where she put her foot down and I stopped drinking. But at that time I was like, I look like a fucking balloon because alcohol it bloats you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even really realize how what I looked like because it wasn't my focus.
Yeah. Well, I think when it happens so slowly, we don't necessarily see it either.
Yeah, you don't pay attention to it because you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And when I mean I'm an alcoholic, I'm the type of person that if I started drinking now, it would snowball. So I don't put like that, I'm an alcoholic for life bullshit, which if you need to, you need to. But for me, I'm not an alcoholic unless I drink. If I don't drink, I don't put that label on me because it's a negative label. And I don't need that shit. But if I were to drink right now, I would become an alcoholic very rapidly. But once the light switch turned off, it turned off. I don't have any temptations. It was done and over. Mm-hmm. But it took a while to get there. I don't know where I got there with lifting. I did get out of lifting because I got into that.
Yeah. So at what point did you get back into it? What spurred that? What was motivating about it?
The motivation, I think, was just realizing how out of shape I was. Mm-hmm. So when did we first meet at Pursue?
Was it almost 4 years ago?
Yeah. So there was a couple, probably 5-6 years prior to that, I had gotten, my cousins owned Anytime Fitness. Mm-hmm. So they had one right off of Olympic Street, which was right down the road from our house. I don't think I had joined any other gyms other than that. There was always gyms around, but when they opened up the gym on Olympic Street, I joined there. And I can't remember, Izzy was probably young, a baby or young. And I started getting back into lifting then. I may or may not have still been drinking at that time. I don't remember. But
if she was a baby,
you were. So because I've been sober for 12, 13 years now, I think. So I probably was. Yeah. So I was fluctuating between, working out and work. And of course I had my business. So there's business and there's, I wasn't really too heavily focused on nothing real. Like I'm not bodybuilding. I was going for more strength.
Yeah. Just movement, getting in and moving your body.
Yeah.
Moving some weights.
Yep. And I was getting fucking strong. I was super fucking strong. But again, I wasn't really paying attention to how much I was lifting at that, which sucks because those were, what was that? How old was I then? Was I in my low 30s or something?
Yeah, you would have been if it was when Izzy was a baby.
Yeah, so if I've, a decade younger, imagine how much stronger I could have been if I would have really been focused in on that.
I think about that all the time because they talk about newbie gains.
Yeah.
Right? Like how much I fucked off for the first couple years. And if I had like super focused.
Yeah.
Like where
would you be? And
not eating all the ice cream.
Well, and that's I hate to actually focus on that shit.
Well, it's just funny to me.
But it is. About. You think about it. It's like, God damn it, if I would have done this rather than that, I would have been either way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy with where I'm at. But it's funny to think about like for people who are like balls in right off the bat.
Yeah.
And, like how far they get.
As in focused. They have their focus and their plan and
Yeah, because when I started also, it was just to like, I need to move my body. Mm-hmm. It was like for stress relief. It wasn't for like, I'm going to be the strongest woman in America.
Yeah. Well, and Yeah, that's never actually been my focus. Now that I'm in powerlifting, obviously I want to be strong, but now it's like I'm beyond my prime. So
maybe not.
Well, who knows? I mean, I there's a limit to how heavy I can go because I know my body.
Well, they say like one time, like that'll be the heaviest you ever lifted, and you won't ever know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think that one time passed for me. and that's the shitty part about it because I think that I've already hit that one time. But
maybe not. Maybe not.
Like right now, I am getting stronger again. But of course, I put on weight again. So I'm up to like 185. I'm not holding it horrible like I have in the past, but it would be nice to be as strong as I am at 165 or 170, which potentially, but not really. I just don't. I think that for me, strength also comes with mass, and mass comes with weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so the kind of weight that I want to push, I still want to get 300 on bench. I still haven't fucking gotten a clean fucking 300. Now I did that with my nephew a few years ago. And I keep looking at that video and I'm like, this motherfucker's got too much of a face on him. You remember, because you were recording it with
too much of a face on him.
Meaning it looked like he was helping a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
who are we talking about?
This motherfucker.
You think he was helping?
I mean, who fucking spots and helps? Don't do that. Don't fucking do that. If I die, I die. Especially when you're trying for PRs. But yeah, I keep going back to that clip. Yes, yes. And there's certain people that know exactly how to spot, and then there's others that just don't. And they think they're helping, but you're not. And I don't mind the fingers being there.
Right.
But it's like if you're doing like that face, come on, man.
Yeah. No, I remember one time I benched 145 for 2, and this was many years ago. And I'm like, many moons. No way did I get that. Right? And she's like, oh no, right? This is a friend of mine that I haven't seen in years.
Yeah. Did she help you?
Of course she did.
Yeah,
There's no way
that's fucking lame.
I can't even bench 145 for 2 now.
Whoa.
I definitely couldn't several years ago.
What are you benching right now?
My max, I did it a couple weeks ago with Devin, and it was 150, which makes me very happy.
Well, what do you mean you can't do 142 for 2? I bet you could.
I don't think so.
I bet you could. The right day, I bet you could.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah.
This year, 2022, my routine and everything, it's just up
changing.
And down. And
yeah.
Trying to get back to it. But anyway, so when you were in your 30s, you started going to Anytime Fitness again. Mm-hmm. So at what you were just wanting to be stronger.
Yeah.
So
I was wanting to get back in shape.
Yeah, yeah. But for you, that was lifting weights.
Yes.
Were you into cardio?
I've never no. no. Since like grade school, high school. No.
Like doing sports.
Doing sports, that was my cardio. But since then, no, I've never.
Like go for a run for fun.
No. I don't like to fucking run. And the reason being is because I've gotten really bad shin splints in the past. So that's always fucked me up.
That's fair.
So road running is very difficult for my body. It's difficult for everybody.
Yeah. Especially if you're not used to it.
Yeah. So I've never enjoyed cardio. It was never my thing.
I think you like HIIT type stuff, though.
I do, but that's more because that's like a body movement
it's
thing.
Different for sure.
It's very different.
I know. I don't like going and doing cardio, but I think like you love going in and like using my whole body to get my heart rate up, not just like walking or
So like when we did cardio, you didn't do cardio. I did cardio, right? The other day?
No, I did it in my own kind of way.
Okay, so I did. Now I like the split that I had the other day. I like my old split, but the sled pushes, I
love getting my heart rate up by like
that because that gets your your heart rate up really quickly. Yeah. The rope slams, I really like. Last year I was doing it for 2 minutes straight. Coming back into it, I'm doing it for a minute straight, which is still good. Just going hard for a whole fucking minute.
Yeah, I don't even like 20 seconds.
Yeah, and then the ski urge for 1,000 meters, which generally will take me about 4 minutes. The row machine for 1,000 meters will take me about 4 minutes, and then rotate all those again. So that's essentially one round for me, which is good. And I also like, what's that bar thing where you hit the tire?
Oh, I would call it like a wood chop tire slam.
Yeah, the tire slams, I really enjoy those. Those are good for getting your heart rate up. There's all kinds of stuff that people can do.
Oh yeah,
that's not treadmill or
and I think that's a lot
stairs.
of people don't understand that is that especially using your legs, you'll get your heart rate up faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was really surprised at one point. I was talking to Devin about doing like just doing some HIIT, and he's like, "Do some med ball slams when you jump." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "That sounds so." But it worked, right? It got my heart rate up because you jump and you slam it. And, but you're using your whole body, and it was way more fun than walking on a fucking treadmill. Yeah. But okay, so the cardio at what point did you start? You switched from Anytime to Pursue. Yeah. And I remember a long time ago, your nephew posting a video of you deadlifting, and it was the first time you had deadlifted, right? And I think it was an easy 315.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was easy. My form, that was the first time I've ever deadlifted because I have a really bad back, so I've always been afraid. Yeah. It threw me off from squatting and deadlifting for decades.
Understandably.
Yeah, because I get hit by a car. Have I ever told you that?
You were in a body cast.
That one time I was in a body cast.
For 9 months?
Both legs. Yep, 9 months. Had to shit out of a hole. Yeah, in a pan.
I didn't know that part, but it makes sense.
It's a great story.
I haven't visualized it.
Now you do.
Got hit by a car. You do. Yeah. You were 6, 7?
I was kindergarten or somewhere around there.
1947?
Fuck off. So, but I don't even think that was the worst. I remember one time I was sledding and I went off it dropped off a little, it was not a cliff, but it was a little overhang.
Just a drop, yeah.
It was a drop right on my tailbone.
Oh yeah.
I got a x-ray a few years ago. Well, probably like 20 years ago now. I don't know when I got it. And there's still a chunk of bone that's off. Yeah. So I still have that, but that fucked up my tailbone. Yeah. And ever since then I've had fucked up back issues badly, like where sciatica pain, and I'll be out, down and out. I had when I was out of shape. I don't have that shit anymore now that I'm working out. But anyway, so that actually scared me from squatting and deadlifting. Yeah, because you always hear horror stories about deadlifting and squatting, and it's none of those are fucking true unless you're a stupid fucking idiot who's lifting wrong. Correct. All that shit has actually strengthened up my entire core, my entire body. I don't have near. I mean, you see how often you don't see, but I probably see the chiropractor now. Well, I haven't seen him in a long ass time, but on a regular basis, it would be every 3 weeks or so. Yeah. Just to keep me lined up. But the good thing about lifting the way we lift, lifting strong and with good form, is it's strengthened all that supporting muscle and all that stuff. But so yes, the first time I deadlifted again since high school was with Kyle at Pursue.
That's a long time.
I wouldn't say it was an easy 315, but I've never done it. I hadn't done deadlifting. Yeah. So
well, it's a lot in 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. So it was good. And it opened up a whole nother fucking. And that being said, deadlift has never been my favorite lift because it's always been. Well, I don't have a very strong lift, but it's always been my weakest lift. So I see other motherfuckers doing 500 pounds, 600 pounds. It's like, that's what I want to fucking do. I want to do that fucking weight. So anything below that, it's pussy weight to me.
It's not, but okay.
Well,
to you,
in your mind, but in my mind, it's fucking pussy weight. I don't even remember what I did last time, but it's getting stronger.
Was it 418 or 432?
At comp?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I know I attempted 460 and I didn't get it because I didn't lock out my.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't get my.
You just didn't pull your one shoulder back.
My shoulder back.
Yeah, but you pulled it.
I pulled it.
You just didn't lock it out.
I didn't lock it out, and that fucking irritated the fuck out of me because it was just that fucking shoulder.
Yeah.
That fucking shoulder, but it is what it is. I've gotten 500 pounds up on a trap bar, which is. It's not a deadlift bar, so it doesn't fucking count, but it's still a fucking shitload of weight.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
And that's what surprised me is if I can get 500 pounds off the ground on a trap bar, why the fuck couldn't I get close to that on a deadlift bar? But there's so much mechanics that go
just
into deadlifting
positioning and all of that. Yeah.
So since Kyle, I had been more, or with Kyle back then, I want to say back then, I was more focused on conventional
that
deadlifts.
Was like 4 years ago, I would say.
Yeah. Conventional deadlifting. And then I switched to sumo recently this last year with Devin. And I love sumo. But I do them both. I train both of them.
Yeah.
So now that I'm not training specifically with Devin right now, I've kind of do whatever the fuck I want. And I've adapted both those moves together all the time. I don't just train sumo. I train sumo and conventional so I can stay on par with both of them.
Yeah. Well, it's good because they both work different body parts.
Yeah. So and they both help squat.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
That straw is really hard to get to.
So you've done a couple meets.
Yeah.
Which we know about. How many have you done? 4? 5?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yep.
What's the future hold?
I'm getting an itch. I mean, I was telling Devin today when the band gets back together, I'm gonna fucking kill it. February, possibly February.
Who's in the band?
Devin. When we get back together. So yeah, he is the violin player and I am the singer. So
it's a hell of a band.
I once you compete, and you've competed, but you got stage fright really bad.
It wasn't stage fright.
Anxiety.
It was anxiety.
Okay. I mean, you competed and you did well when you're on stage, so I guess it isn't stage fright. But for me, it's like that bug will never go away. I always have the itch to compete again.
Yeah.
I just know that, okay, well, I'm not going to do good, so I'm not going to compete. Like this competition coming up now, I knew there was no point. I could have gone to nationals, but for me, there was no point. I qualified for nationals in both weight classes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been able to get any records. So for me personally,
the guy that holds those records is insanely strong.
It was like, why the fuck am I going to waste all the money to go there just to go? And a lot of people are like, well, you got to get the experiences. I mean, nationals is different. Well, of course it's fucking different. It's nationals. But I don't need that. I need records. That's what I'm going there for. I'm not, if I want to fucking just lift heavy, I'm going to fucking put all that energy at home and get state records. So I don't need to waste money to go to nationals. Not to say that whoever does, good on them. They want that national fucking... Just
different goals.
I mean, it's absolutely awesome because you've made it that far, and that's a very fucking small percentage of people that even get that. But for me, if I'm going someplace, I'm going for records. Whether I get them or not, that's another story. But I've gotten records in almost every single competition I've done except for one. The one competition, I blew every single fucking lift I did. Every single fucking lift. Which sucked because I had people from Arizona here. I had massive amount of family and friends there, and I blew every fucking lift. But that was all ego. That was actually the competition you were at. And I think Cash was there.
Was that I was there, but was
No, that was that was the one you were competing in.
Is it?
Yeah. Yep.
I remember it.
But it was a good learning experience. I'm not mad about that because I was stupid. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have, anybody keeping me in check, and I fucking went heavy on every single fucking lift I did. If I didn't make it like Austin did this last one, okay, let's bump the weight up. Bump the fucking weight. Didn't get that shit. That's just the way it is. But it was a good learning experience because it really keeps you humble.
Yeah.
Because when you think that you're going to do something, well, sometimes that shit doesn't work out. And it didn't. So.
Too bad.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more to your story.
Which one?
All of it with the lifting and stuff, but we're at 30.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So you want to call it good there?
Yeah, Ryan can ask you more questions later. Maybe.
Yes. All righty. There you go. We're out.